Hi, I'm Max Eyre, and I'm here with Ethan Borman, and we both have projects on Loor. And let's chat. Ethan, what's your brief background?
My brief background, well, I am a missionary kid from South America, and I got into film really early on with some friends down there, and went to school to do film at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, and then from there, kind of stumbled my way through some projects after college, and finally ended up in Spokane and have been doing marketing for some companies and then also just doing some passion projects on the side.
Okay, I connect with the missionary kids. So
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Toronto. Um,
Oh, cool.
when I was born, my dad was a lay pastor with Church Army, which is Anglican, and
Okay.
then we moved to Atlanta in 1980. And when my dad retired, well, he'd always been helping out with missions conferences and overseas
Hmm.
missionary fellowship and child evangelism fellowship and Ireland outreach. And when he retired, my mom and he spent 10 years going back and forth to Ireland, helping Ireland outreach with their book ministry to 40 countries. So we always
Okay.
had missionaries coming through our house after church, and um,
Yeah.
I learned international foods and flavors and what God's doing
Yeah.
around the world. So I'm a
Oh, cool.
PK and an MK.
Awesome. Yeah. I like how you say Ireland. You say it more Irish than most people do.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mom's Irish, dad's British.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Very,
I
very
have
cool.
three passports.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Same deal.
yeah, so Spokane, Washington seems to be a hub for many lore filmmakers. How many are
Hmm.
up there? And it seems like you guys have a lot of fun. I wish I was there sometimes.
Well, I guess we're not far from Moscow, Idaho, and so we got a couple guys down in that area. I think Chalk Knox is down in that area, and um, Marcus Pittman is down in that area, and then I think he's down, yeah, he's down in that area,
Yeah,
and
Moscow.
then we've got Jason Farley, of course, up in Spokane area, and then Jake Beal, um, and then me, Ethan Borman, are up in the Spokane area. I don't think I've met any of the other guys in the area. I've met a couple of the actors, Victor Sarmiento,
Yeah.
um, and actually, yeah, just got to shoot a video with him recently, and that was really really fun.
I saw it, that music video in the bookstore.
Yeah, he's a
Pretty
very
funny.
talented actor, so it was really fun to work with him.
And was it Jake and his wife wrote the song?
Yeah, Jake wrote the music and most of the lyrics, and then his wife helped him smooth out the lyrics. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Tell us what's next. You've got a new
Oh
project
yeah.
that you launched on Lore yet or not yet?
Yeah, so I have one project on Lure already, and it's fully funded. It's the Limitations
Oh,
short film.
yes.
Yeah, which I shot with Jason Farley.
Jason's
He
acting debut.
Yeah, yep, as a disgruntled librarian.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it was really fun. We were just talking. We were actually writing a script, and Jason was I was writing a script basically with Jason and Jacob, and we were just kind of working through this feature length film script, and we were like, we just need to make something. Like we can sit here and you know figure out the minutia of the script forever and ever and ever, and
Yeah.
we're like, well, let's just create something. So Jason's like, well, I've got some great scripts. Why don't we take a section of one? I'll send them over to you. You pick one, and let's do it. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's
So
kind of how that ended up happening. Yeah.
so the script of Limitations is part of a feature or what?
Yeah, so it's part of a feature,
Oh,
uh and it was something that Jason wrote. I think it was Iceland. um there was an article about Iceland that are like, we completely eliminated through abortion. They were like, we completely eliminated this disease.
oh, I see.
And
Oh, was it
or
Down syndrome or something?
yeah, Down syndrome. So it wasn't actually a disease, but like we've completely eliminated Down syndrome. And Jason was like, well, that's wrong. So he wrote this script, and the main character, actually, I think he works during the day at a a house for Down syndrome people, and that was we kind of just picked that little section because it was a nice little encapsulated little love story, and then we were like, well, let's kind of throw in a wrench of like, how can we make this guy's leg disappear, and that's how that happened.
Wait, so I barely noticed that you had a one-legged guy. Is he an amputee or is that faked?
Yeah, so completely faked.
Oh, I was like, why didn't they didn't show it that much? How come
Yeah,
they didn't feature the guy with one leg?
yeah.
Oh, that's the reason.
Yeah, and that's Roman Nutrock. He's also down in the Moscow area. He's a upcoming actor as well,
Okay.
and I think he interned with Jason Farley, and so we did that with
Okay.
him. And yeah, he's got both his legs.
The one thing I noticed about him is he doesn't have a beard.
Yeah, he doesn't. I know. Yeah.
So many lore creators so far don't have beards. I was joking with Tim Engel the
Oh
other
yeah.
day, barely biblical, and I was like, you should not grow a beard because it sets you apart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's been really cool working with Jason and working on those projects.
Okay, yeah. So and this new music video is going to be part of a sketch video series.
Yeah, so it'll be a sketch video series, sort of touching on like some cultural Christianity faux pas, I guess you could say. And
Oh, well,
yeah.
you have enough material there to syndicate.
Oh yeah, no, that's why we're like, yeah, we got content for years. Jake and I were like brainstorming ideas, and we're like, we don't really have to brainstorm much. All we have to do is just like think of our childhood, and we've got ideas. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I went to a conference once, and the guy spoke about, how cultures can gain ground in media, and one of the early steps was they have to learn to laugh at themselves.
Yeah, that is true.
Because every culture has things that are laugh worthy, but if you're too serious and uptight to acknowledge it,
Yeah,
you're not getting past that first hump.
no,
everyone else is laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm definitely all about comedy. And then I go to these film festivals, and there's so many serious topics. I'm like, where's the comedies? So
yeah, no, it's very true. I think Christians definitely have a corner on the sort of serious, but I think it's almost to the point where it feels like it's parody. But they're not. It's like they're just trying too hard. I don't know what you feel about the general ethos of our modern Christian film industry, but it's definitely what drives me to try to make things better.
Yeah. Well, when Blockbuster was around, you go into Blockbuster, there were sections, there were genres and everything except for porn, right? And so I used to joke that there needed to be a Christian cheese section.
Oh yeah. Yep. Very, very true.
There's room for that, but there's a void for Christian faith, kingdom-minded content that is targeted at 15 to 34 age group, especially males. I was at a conference 2 days ago in Nashville, and some lady had a show, a feature film at, I think it was Sony, and the target was young adult, and it was too edgy, and they had to go through it.
Really?
It's edgy, and I said, what's the fine line? Because the stuff that I write is very edgy according to Christian standards and not edgy compared to South Park per se.
Yeah.
And she said, at least for that movie, and I don't know if young adult, what the exact definition of young adult is, but for that movie, the studio wanted PG, not even PG-13. Like, whoa.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So one of my scripts is horror, thriller, teen audience. I'm trying to think.
The Pray one?
Pray v Pray or Pray for Mason.
Yeah.
Pray for Mason is the feature. Pray v Pray is the short that's
okay.
based on the feature, but we changed the name because we're not guaranteeing the cast that they'll be in the feature.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I lost my train of thought. Help me out there.
Yeah, sorry, you were talking about one of the horror films that you were working on? I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's what you're talking about.
PG-13.
Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking, well, what I want to go back and look at Goosebumps because that was, kind of horror for a really young audience. And they
yeah,
had the scary prosthetic monsters and stuff, but they probably steered away from gore. And I don't
yeah,
know where they stood on language or sexuality, but yeah, I'd be
yeah,
curious to know how people, other, even the studios draw the line there for audience.
yeah. Did you ever watch the Frank Peretti Hangman's Curse?
No, I
Um,
haven't seen that one.
yeah, it's kind of worth a watch. The book is really, really good. I think the film is a little bit lackluster.
Okay.
Um, but some people might disagree with me on that the book was good. But yeah, I read it when I was like a teenager, so it was definitely scary. But yeah,
Okay. Good research.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, some good research. Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about you. I don't know. You probably talked a little bit about you and some of your other
Oh yeah.
podcasts. Yeah.
So well, I grew up without a television,
Oh, really?
and then yeah, my parents were basically the boycott Hollywood crowd.
Okay.
And then when I was 14, I was introduced to Petra. So I got
Oh,
into
yeah.
music a little bit, but not really. And then pop culture, oh, I don't think my mom has a clue who the Beatles or Elvis is, right? Even to
Oh,
this.
yeah. Yeah.
She has intentionally isolated herself from culture in the world. So, um, but eventually developed a hunger. So the first movie I saw in the theater was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang at the Science Center when
Oh,
I was
wow.
9. And then when I was 10 or 11, we went to the Dollar Theater and saw War Games and Return of the Jedi. Oh, before that,
Okay.
when I was about 8, I went to a birthday party and they had rented a 16 millimeter film strip and
Oh,
showed
really?
a Star Trek or a movie.
Oh, wow.
And I felt uncomfortable and I asked my parents to pick me up and take me home.
Oh, yeah.
uh, so so then in college, I, you know, I was, they played weekly movies well, I'd already,
Mhm.
I don't know when I got really interested in movies, but they were filming RoboCop 3 next to my campus. And I
Oh,
started
wow.
following them around because they were blowing things up. And that was my language.
Yeah.
And so I just started inquiring. And I had a friend from church who was in film school at Georgia State. And he
Mhm.
gave me the extras casting hotline. So I call the number, send your headshot and resume to this address. Well, what's a headshot? What's a resume?
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't, I looked up the extras casting lady in the phone book and I called her in the evening and
Yeah.
she was friendly. And I called her 3 days later and I sent her a Polaroid with my phone number, height, weight, I don't know, maybe my social, maybe my
Did,
pager, probably pager.
did you selfie the Polaroid, or
I
did
don't
you have someone
remember,
else take it? Yeah.
but I mailed that to her, right? That's all I had.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I called her every 3 days for 3 weeks. And she kind of encouraged me. And she
Yeah.
had a cancellation on a Friday and said, show up tomorrow at 5 a.m. And
Wow.
I went downtown and I was dressed as a riot cop and I shot a shotgun with blanks and
Yeah.
they're blowing up a tank and Space Cam is doing the POV of RoboCop flying down the street.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the effects guys and the stunt guys.
Mhm.
And wouldn't you know, decades later, I meet all those guys. And
Yeah.
when I moved to LA in 99, so that was
That's
19,
awesome.
that was 1990, my first extra job on RoboCop 3. And then it went into bankruptcy. Orion Pictures went bankrupt.
Wow.
So at the time I was at Georgia Tech and I was a co-op
Oh,
student with
no.
Georgia Tech Research
Mhm.
Institute. And they sent me to a conference in Long Beach, Aeroacoustics conference. And my buddy and I took on our day off, we hopped on a bus and went up to Hollywood. And we stepped off the bus, and within 60 seconds, there's this ear-splitting roar. There's a crowd, we don't know what it's about. Ear-splitting
Yeah.
roar, and this guy in the jetpack flies down Hollywood Boulevard in front of Mann's Chinese for the premiere of RoboCop 3.
Oh, wow.
And it was totally off my radar, and God put it back on my radar.
Wow.
One of those incredible God moments.
Yeah. That's cool.
So and I was just, I was just getting permission to kind of sink my teeth into entertainment. I went to, when I was in college, probably, or so 1990 and 1993. So right about the same time, I went to InterVarsity Christian Fellowship's missions conference in Chicago at Urbana,
Yeah.
the Urbana Missions Conference.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's probably 93. And I met Bruce Kuhn, who was a Broadway actor, and he performed the entire book of Luke word for word as a one-man play, right?
Wow, that's awesome.
And he had a workshop on being a creative and a Christian. And I chatted with him, and he encouraged me, if God's putting this on your heart, you got to follow through. You got to pursue this. So I went back, and I had an opportunity to speak at a church, and I that was my public coming out of the closet as a
Yeah.
Christian filmmaker, right? Or a Christian who is a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And my parents, they trust God and God's path
Yeah.
for my life. And I put a spin on it so that they would, approve that it's about building relationships and furthering the kingdom. And that's true, but I also knew that that's what they would connect with. And so I just started writing sketches and short films and tried to make a feature. And I bought it. What year was it? I think in 2005, I bought a film camera. I bought a Bolex 16 millimeter camera.
Wow.
And I'd been doing video in high school, but I was really frustrated with the jog shuttle edit system, the analog tape to tape.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just waiting for digital to come out. But I knew that I needed to shoot. If I was gonna, I just read Robert Rodriguez. What was El Mariachi, but his book was Rebel Without a Crew.
Yep, that's right.
He made a $3,000 feature film, shot on film. And so that's what we were going to do, my buddies and I. And I bought the Bolex camera, and I made Steadicam, and I made a jib, and we put the jib in a pickup truck, and we got all these crazy traveling shots because my friends and I, we all met at the Batman stunt show. And so we, they say as a starting out filmmaker, avoid stunts, children, and animals. Well, we weren't going to avoid stunts. Stunts is what sold movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of the trailer moments. So we were all over that. And at the time in Atlanta, film was a novelty. So nobody was going to say, hey, get off our lawn. They would just say, don't land on the daffodils if you're jumping the flower bed, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, and we would do all sorts of things. We were standing on top of moving vehicles with pizza boxes on our hand. We were practicing car hits in back alleys, and then we'd take it out to basically Atlanta's version of the Sunset Strip and do car hits in public and then take off after 3 takes. And we were running rooftops and everything we could do, but low light, we didn't have lights.
Yeah.
And just, let's go do a fight scene in this industrial park on a Saturday, thinking nobody would notice. And then a cop car would roll up, and we'd explain ourselves, and they'd see the lights in the generator and the rubber crowbar. And the cop said to us on that particular occasion, to the guy that, the 2 guys doing a fight scene, he's like, well, do you want to get beat up? And they're like, yeah, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the cop took off, and we just learned, if the cops show up, put on a Cheshire Cat grin and say, I guess we shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So that was my start.
Yeah.
Batman stunt show. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you fall downstairs? Here, borrow my back pad. Let's go to the park. I know these stairs that aren't very steep and the wood's half rotted, and just roll around and get comfortable and build up your speed and get past the mental block, which is sometimes 80% of a stunt. You're in your head, the what if I get hurt? Well, do it a few times, and stairs is just like rolling down a grassy hill, except for it's got points.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have a lot of speed at the bottom, you got to stop somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I'd be at someone's house, and they're like, these stairs are really carpeted. Here, throw me down the stairs.
Yeah.
On a couple pads, and we'd shoot video and just build our reel. And so just a hunger for action. And so now that's kind of a specialty, over the years, I look back and I was like, oh, that's what God was doing in my life. And so I'm trying to make feature films, and it's a much bigger animal than short films.
Yeah, no, it is. It just the time consumingness of it, just like getting the script all together, and then after that, just editing is so much more of a beast. Like going even from like 5-minute videos to 20-30 minute videos.
Oh yeah.
It's like, whoa, like I'm spending so much time working on this. And so yeah, when you talked about the cop story, one of the early little films that I did was called The Mafia's Windex, and it was when I shot when I was a teenager with one of my good friends who's also a filmmaker down in Tulsa. Um, and it was called Mafia's Windex, and so we had all these airsoft guns, and we had like blacked out the tips, and we were in this old abandoned house in Ecuador, and we were filming it going around, and um, we all go up the stairs because we were going to go up the stairs to shoot, and there was a window at the top of the stairs, and we come to the top of the stair, and we're all holding our guns, and all of a sudden a cop's face pops up through the window. He'd stuck a ladder up the side of the thing, and we all turned towards him with our guns, like our airsoft guns, and he was like, oh. And my friend was like, no, we're just shooting a movie. We're just shooting a movie. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he just like backed out and left, and we never saw him again. We were like, okay, I guess I don't know if we scared him off, or he was just like, oh, okay, there's a bunch of kids playing in the
Oh
but yeah.
wow.
So yeah, very, very similar, like, but Ecuador, obviously it's very different. Like we probably could have passed him
Oh.
at 20 and he would have not bothered us ever again, but I think we sufficiently scared him with all our airsoft rifles.
Oh man. Yeah, my
Yeah.
imagination's going wild on that one.
Yeah.
I heard about a movie shoot in Los Angeles, and a real police chase went through their set basically, and
Oh,
the
really?
car hit the production trailer, just
That's
glanced
awesome.
off it.
That's cool.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you get these stories every once in a while of the right permits weren't told, or the person didn't get the memo, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you working on action films mainly now, or
Well, as a stunt coordinator, well, they're not
okay.
always action films, but it's some sequence. I just did a domestic abuse fight scene in a
Okay.
micro budget feature, and
Oh,
um,
cool.
it's usually some kind of working with the actors and their abilities. I don't often bring in stunt people because I'm not on that level of
Budget or
budget movie very often. But
mhm.
I definitely can add to um, a production just with my eye, because I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
My own project, so Pray v Pray is a proof of concept short film. I basically took the feature and made a 10-minute version without giving away the ending in the feature.
Oh, cool.
But we only got through 7 pages out of 10. And
Okay.
so the June 3rd is the due date for Indie Memphis Film Festival, and I want the cast and crew to be able to see their work on the big screen this year.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the campaign at Loor is to raise finishing funds to finish it, and I've
Hmm.
got a lawyer working on retroactively working on contracts right now.
Oh, cool.
So I'm about to send out the email to start getting organized to shoot in a week or two, and then I already have a rough cut, so I think we can pull it together. But
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah.
So doing film festivals, have you found that has been very helpful to just like promoting your film or
If I have a project in the festival, then there's something to talk about. But I haven't very often had a project in a festival, so I'll
okay.
go to meet people, but I'll generally only go to the local festivals because I'm committed to meeting and working with locals here in Memphis.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But
Yeah,
if I had something that was completed, and I, I would send it out, and then I would travel a little bit.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I recently sent a couple films to film festivals. Um, there was one I did called Flying Steel, which is a company I was working for. They had a cool helicopter job up in the middle of nowhere in Idaho, and so just followed the guys up there, and as they flew in this helicopter and then flew a tower section for a cell phone tower up into the mountains, and landed it on top of this tower on top of this hill in the middle of nowhere. And so that was a really fun one. And I think I won in one of the festivals, I think down in Albuquerque, and that was interesting. I didn't travel down there to like join the festival or anything like that. And then the one that's on Loor, the Limitations, placed in a Christian film festival over on the East Coast, and they asked me to come over, but it was like I had to pay for my ticket, and they were like, and I think I even had to pay to get into the event, and I was like, yeah, I can see, like, so like, yeah, my experiences with film festivals haven't been that great. But yeah, I did another feature, and I liked I guess ask you about this. Is so I did a little short film called Echoes in the Woods, which I directed here locally in Spokane, and ended up showing it at a theater in Spokane as well. And do you find that helpful as well, just finding a little local theater to show your films at, especially for like the cast and crew?
Oh yeah, well, outside of a film festival here in Memphis, the main theater chain Malco is really friendly to filmmakers. So for $200-300, they'll rent you a theater, and then the box office is all yours.
That's really cool.
You can't bring in food, but I want to start organizing the local filmmakers. Even if we put together, a handful of short films to make a 2-hour block, everybody would bring their friends. And I think if we're not trying to make a profit, we're just splitting the cost of the theater, then it's something we could probably do on a regular basis. There's a lot of history here of films that people might like to see on the big screen. And I think there's actually quite a few people doing that, because that's how I learned about it.
Yeah, that's
but
really
the theaters
cool.
are hurting. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get a weekend slot for $200-300 on a Tuesday. And then be prepared, because people are getting babysitters to come out. So as soon as the credits start, half of them might take off if you want them to stick around for the Q&A.
That's cool.
It's filmmaking is more fun in community. And I've been on one movie where all the extras were invited to the local bar to watch the dailies. And that just built this community of the hardcore, the featured extras that were on the whole show, getting to know each other and getting rowdy when the scenes come on. And it was a lot of fun.
That is really cool.
So I want to recreate that too.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone does dailies anymore, but it's on digital. It's already, the audio is already synced up. You don't have to sync up the second system audio. Just use the camera audio for the dailies.
No, that's always fun. That's one of my favorite things to do, even with my family. After I go out and do a shoot, I'll bring back the footage, and I'll sit down with my daughters and my wife and just be like, hey, look what daddy shot today. And and we'll just kind of we'll just watch it on the on the back screen on my Black Magic, and just be like, hey, look what I did. So
Awesome.
Hey,
this has been really great getting to know you and chatting about your projects. And where can we send your audience to see your work?
Oh man, it's so scattered right now. Like, actually, strangely enough, my LinkedIn page has like the best smattering of all my work, and all lined up in all the different places I've done it. My main YouTube page is Boar Films.
Okay. And you can find my work at eyrefilms.com. That's spelled EYRE. And that'll take you everywhere.
Awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, it was good chatting, man.
Good chatting, yeah.